Every year, there are tens of thousands of people who compete in the Toastmasters International Speech Contest. And this is just my estimation, but I think about half of those people are going to end up getting in their own way. They are going to end up making mistakes that they could have avoided had they done a little bit of due diligence. My name is Beverly, world champion of public speaking, your public speaking mentor, and in this video, you and I are going to cover all of the costly mistakes that you need to avoid if you do not want your contest season to end prematurely. The first scenario that I'm going to talk about is about a woman who reached out to me several years back to help her with her speech contest. And I asked her a natural question, of course. When is your speech contest? Oh, in 2 weeks. Really? Few things irk me more than a speech competitor who does not take the speech contest seriously. You're not taking it seriously if you're getting prepped 2 weeks in advance before your contest. I mean, come on, I started drafting my World Championship speech 1 year in advance before the World Championship of Public Speaking. My World Championship speech from 2016, that's the trophy back there. The earliest drafts of that speech started in 2013. Now, no, I'm not telling you that your speech must take years of preparation, but I am telling you that quality takes time. At the very least, put in the work at least 2 months in advance before your first speech contest. This will help you plan, this will help you write, this will help you refine and practice before the contest date. And if you're one of those people who works best in crunch time when the pressure's on, think about how much better and easier it will be on your life if you do it ahead of time. And as for that young lady who asked me to help her with her speech contest, I just gave her some sound advice. Start preparing for next year. Now in scenario number 2, you have a dilemma. You have this one speech that you absolutely love, and you just know that this speech has to be given in the World Championship of Public Speaking. You convince yourself that this speech has to be given on the largest stage because that is where you're going to get the largest audience reaction. That is where you're just going to get all of this glory and everything is going to work out perfectly for you and you will win the World Championship of Public Speaking. And here is my advice to you. Use the best speech first. No, but Aaron, this speech, this is so grand. It is so great. It has to be on the largest stage. That's all well and good, but use the best speech first. But the way that this speech works, I just need a lot of room, and that room is only going to be available to me on the world stage. Use the best speech first. This is just something that I really. No. Shut up. Use the best speech first. Look, this dream that you have conjured in your mind is built on nothing but your own subjectivity. And in a competition, you need to start thinking more objectively. If you have something that you know can win the World Championship of Public Speaking, then why not use it in round 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? You can't win the World Championship of Public Speaking if you don't get to the World Championship of Public Speaking. And in that off chance that your first speech couldn't get you to the World Championship of Public Speaking, then I don't think your second best speech was going to get you to the World Championship either. Oh, and when that happens, you're going to be filled with so much regret. I can't believe I lost. Had I used my best speech, oh, it would have been different. Then why didn't you use it? When you start competing, think about which speech is actually your best. If you believe that it's your best, if you have an audience that also believes that it's your best, then you need to put your best foot forward and use it first. And by the way, in order for a speech to be in consideration of your best, it needs to be completed. If you have 90% of a fantastic speech, and you have another speech that's 100% complete, that one that's 100% complete is the best one so far. And strategically thinking, you could always use that one that's 90% once it's at 100%. But like I said before, you can't win the World Championship of Public Speaking unless you get to the World Championship of Public Speaking. Now, the next scenario is the mistake of thinking that you can win the International Speech Contest without knowing the rules and criteria around the International Speech Contest. I made 2 entire videos just about this. Link to both in the description below. Let's say that you were disqualified in round number 4 because you didn't pay your dues before round number 2. You wouldn't have been disqualified had you read the rules. You decided to be different and stand in one spot throughout your entire speech. Now, you're surprised that you didn't advance. You could have prevented that scenario had you looked at the judging criteria. You decided that you were going to invoke some humor by referencing one of your competitors earlier in the contest. And now you're disqualified because you didn't read the rules. At the very least, you need to look at the judging criteria to make sure that your speech checks all of the boxes, at least in your own opinion. Because at the end of the day, it is a competition and that is what you're going to be judged on. Now, when you're actually at the contest, it's time to stop thinking about the judges. You need to do all of that work beforehand. Now, when it comes to the rules, you should just know the rules all the time anyway. You cannot master a game that you do not know the rules to. I don't care how much talent you think you may have. Now, this next scenario is actually one from Toastmasters contest history. Back in 2000, Ed Tate, the 2000 world champion of public speaking, was about to get disqualified. Ed was in the midst of a great story. The audience was enjoying it, they were laughing, they were rolling. Originally, Ed had a completely different ending for his speech, but the problem was it was going to take about 30 seconds or a minute to get through it. And that, my friends, is when he saw the red signal. In the International Speech Contest, you will be disqualified if your speech exceeds 7 minutes and 30 seconds. So when Ed saw that red light, he had to rely on something he had prepared in advance. An emergency ending. Boxer Mike Tyson once said that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And when you are on a stage, you are, proverbially, getting hit in the face. Maybe the audience laughs a little bit longer than you expected them to. Maybe they react completely different than what you expected them to, and now it causes you to pause and go slower. But you can anticipate this and have an emergency ending ready. The ending only has to be one sentence. In Ed's case, he had a through line that he used over and over in his speech already, so he just ended with that.
And it was like I always said, I knew it was going to be Mr. Toastmaster.
Had he not done that, Ed Tate would not be one of the world champions of public speaking. And in addition to having an emergency ending, you need to know the times when you are going to see the signals that indicate when your time is up in the speech contest. You need to know where in your speech you're going to be when you see the green signal. You need to know where in your speech you're going to be when you see the yellow signal. And you really need to know where you are in your speech when you see the red signal. And if you're behind when you see the red signal, have that emergency ending ready. Now, the next scenario, I want to take you all the way back to 2012. A young boy decided he was going to go into the area contest and he was going to give this speech. It was about these sailboats. The boats were a metaphor for dreams. And he was going to tell the audience how they needed to follow their dreams. And they were going to be on a sailboat in the ocean of life. And it was just nothing but constant preaching with no weight to it at all. Yeah, I actually have a clip of this moron. Let's watch.
Because on the sea of life, you will have storms that will make the waters rougher, that will make the breezes harsher, that will make your skies darker.
Yes, it was me. Look, it's hard to connect with somebody who's just preaching down at you, telling you what you need to do, and not giving you any context of why you need to do it. If you're in the International Speech Contest, it is an amateur competition. So you're not going to be some famous guru who can just go in and tell people, hey, you, be motivated to do stuff. It just doesn't work that way. And I'm sorry, but the days when you could just spit out all of this motivational vomit are gone. Now, once I made that preaching mistake in 2012, I realized that I needed to start incorporating personal stories into my presentations. By having a personal story, I was able to connect with my audience more because they were able to relate to me and the stories I was telling. Now, I will admit that it is not always easy to find the right personal story to tell with the right theme in your speech. Just be genuine, be authentic, tell a personal story about an experience that you had that you believe will help somebody. When you start from there, you're starting in a good place. Now, in this next scenario, this is a good one because guess what? You've won. Yep, that's right. You've won a contest round, and now that means that you do nothing but wait and chill until the next round. You will eventually get eaten alive in one of the later rounds. Proverbially, when you win a contest, it is so easy to get complacent, and it is so easy to fall into this mindset trap.
Yes, I have won my club contest. This means that I will win every single round in the exact same way, and I will win the World Championship of Public Speaking.
Yeah, this was my mindset back in 2012 too. Hey, I want you to enjoy your victory, but only enjoy it for about a day. The contest gets progressively harder as you go into the later rounds. The speeches that you go up against are going to be more refined, the competitors are going to make less mistakes, and they're just all around going to be better speakers. One of my favorite quotes is from the 1999 world champion of public speaking, Craig Valentine, and he said, What got you here won't get you there. That means just because you did one thing on this specific day, that you're going to go to another scenario and do the exact same thing and get the exact same result. Now, it could happen, but it's not always going to happen. If you want to keep advancing in the International Speech Contest, you can increase your chances of doing so by improving your speech and improving your speaking skills before each round of the contest. Review your performances on video or on audio. Maybe you could review the content, revise it, make it stronger. And if you've reviewed your speech over and over again and you can find nothing else to improve, then start looking at other world champions or other speeches where you can get some inspiration and some ideas on what you can incorporate to make your speech better. You can start by looking at one of my speeches or one of my analysis. Link in the description below. Now, this last scenario actually has to deal with what you do after your contest season has ended. Back in 2016, I gave my first speech ever in the World Championship of Public Speaking, and I placed second. When I got that second place trophy, I could have looked at it in two completely different ways. The first way, I could have just blamed the judges and said that they were absolutely wrong. This would not have been helpful. Sometimes when people don't advance in the contest, they start to have all of these negative scenarios run in their mind. Oh, the judges showed favoritism. Oh, the judges didn't know what they were doing. Oh, the judges. Here's my mindset. If I put all of the blame on the judges, then that takes all of the accountability away from me. And if I don't have any accountability, I can't improve myself. When I left the stage with regret in 2016, I left the stage with regret because of the things that I had done in my speech, my own speech execution. There was no way that I could say that the judges dropped the ball because they never had the ball to begin with. So listen to these words that I am saying. It's not the judges, it's you. The judges don't need to improve. You do. Now, does this mean that I'm saying that there's no such thing as a biased judge or there's no such thing as an unfair judge? I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that it's going to be more helpful for you to have the mindset of how do I improve rather than this person is going to affect my life. If you keep that mindset and consistently follow it, you're going to advance in the contest more often than not. If you got any value out of this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Resources are in the description below. Take care.